Hi, my love. Welcome back to another of what I call diagnostic bite size astrological series. We're still working on the name. Today, we're going to talk about what are we talking about today? When nothing you do feels like you anymore. I love this juicy topic. And honestly, this series was inspired by it's just the type of troubleshooting that we do when I see clients. I thought it would be like, well, I don't know where this idea came from, but I got this download where it could be fun to run the series where I'm breaking down actual common issues and common problems that I see from clients and showing you how we are using astrology in real life. And it's not about this, random language about planets and oppositions and Saturn conjunct Aries and things like that. We actually want to put the application behind all of those fancy words, and that's what we're doing with the series, showing you how exactly these type of aspects and those type of transits, how are they translating into your real life and why you should care. So let's talk about this. When nothing you do feels like you anymore, do you ever feel that way? I'm pretty sure every single one of us would go through that. Well, I'm not sure if everyone goes through that because there are some transits that are quite heavy and very, very, very destructive. And not everyone will go through them in a specific lifetime. So, but I feel like in some shape, in some form or shape, I feel like a lot of people feel this, on some level. It's a spectrum, right? It's a spectrum. So it's just like sometimes, what does the feeling feels like? It's just like, I know I felt that recently where you wake up and you're like, ugh, things just feel flat. You kind of feel like you're in between, but you're not fully there. But then it's just like, I don't know, maybe like hobbies that you used to do, you're just like, impartial about them, or you feel this deep, intense, you're drawn to other things that you don't even understand, or you judging yourself. Why do you have this new interest now? And things are just upside down. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just nothing feels like you or the old you. We often forget that we are constantly evolving. We're not static beings. But it's hard, right? To just let go of this old version of us and just flow with the motion of life, which is this constant evolution, right? If we look at nature, I like to look at nature for my as my greatest teacher and reminding me whenever I lose myself, right? Is things are supposed to flow. Nothing ever stays the same. Even the trees, just there's never 2 days the same. Things are always flowing and they go through all of these different seasons, and sometimes they look dead, other times they look full of life, and they're not resisting. At least I feel like the trees aren't resisting. We don't know what's going in their world, but I feel like they have absolute trust and certainty in the greater power, in the light, in the flow of things, in the universe. And when you think about it, right, there is a divine flow of life that takes care of everything. As you can think about it, we know you don't think about whether the sun is gonna rise tomorrow. Somehow the sun still rise, right? And it's just like this. It's almost like a guarantee that it's just there is a flow. We can't deny that there's a flow to life. So before I start getting all philosophical and digressing here, let's go back to the topic I've had. Why I wanted to offer another perspective of why you might actually feel like nothing feels like you anymore. When I have clients coming up to me with this type of issue, this is why I tend to look first. By the way, if you feel like you're going through that and you feel like you could use help, you don't need to do this by yourself. Definitely, you could book a session with me, or the link are down below. I'm excited because I just recently changed all of my links, and now I open my booking calendar where we can have real life one on one conversations and analyze your chart and whatever you're going through. I also do have other consultation where I still use the chart, but like we can talk about various life things that you are going through. So I always look at the 12th house first. The 12th house is extremely sexy to me. I don't know why I'm using this word so much lately. Venus is doing some things in my chart right now, so that might be why. And yes, so the 12th house is the unseen, it's deep spirituality. It's often associated, well, it is associated with Pisces. Need we say more? And a lot of time when you might feel like nothing feels like you anymore, it might be because you do have a major transit going through your 12th house. Every time a transit falls into your house, we can see it as a form of activation, because there's a lot of, I can say, dormant energy in your chart, and all of that transit is pretty much like as it moves around the zodiac and in the sky, it's always constantly activating different part of your life. And even when you go through a different activation again of the same thing, it's a different layer, it's a deeper level. It's just we're never the same, right? This is why the cosmos is all part of our evolution. And that's why I always say everything is energy, because we don't see so many things, but they are affecting you, right? That's why we want to know. So we can often use that energy in a productive way, or we can overcome whatever is holding us back. So 12 house activation can really release that feeling of, oh my God, what is going on? And depending on what you have in the 12th house, depending on if you have any specific planet to begin with in your natal chart, that's why I'm always talking about, your own personal chart and then private reading and, getting your birth chart, because it's different for everyone, right? Some people have planets in the 12th house. Some people don't have planets in the 12th house. Some people have planets that are very close to the 12th house. Some people have planets that are opposing the 12th house. It's very different from everyone. This is why I'm always driving this point home, because I feel like for too long we were settling for generic horoscope and generic things that apply to everyone, when in reality it's not. Astrology is not the knowledge, the wisdom is applicable to all, but it's a very, very, very personalized, highly individualized thing depending on your own chart, right? So that is the first thing that I analyze. And another thing is Saturn in your first, like, do you have, because the first house is the house of self, how you present yourself to the world. It represents your body. It represents how you move through the world. And this is going to have a huge impact in your life, how you feel and things like that. So having a Saturn, your natal Saturn in the first, is already gonna make you really I can say like sensitive, or you're gonna be more perceptive, is that a word? You're gonna be a little bit more sensitive to this type of change and picking on them very quickly, right? So if you have, let's say, whatever transit is going through your first house is also going to have you're going to clock it in very, very fast, quicker than other people, because this is, again, the first house is the house of the self, of the body, of that first layer, how you move through life, how people see you, how you perceive everything, and how you perceived by other people in life, in day-to-day life and stuff like that. So these are a couple of examples. It's not an exhaustive list. This is what we do, more like in like a private reading. It gets to be a bit more exhaustive. But I just wanted to add another aspect, no, another angle to the conversation as to why you might feel like you don't really feel like you anymore lately. And it's very juicy, because especially lately we've had a lot of activities in the cosmos. So many planets were in Aries. I know you're like, Stephanie, what happened? You went MIA during that transit, during this crazy transit and that party that was happening in the sky. Well, I've been avoiding that elephant in the room, but I might record a little something. I think it would be fun to record an episode more like in an retrospective style about what happened recently in the cosmos. On that note, I just wanted to say that, whether you have some stuff that are transiting your 12th house or your first, you're gonna feel it heavily, okay? And it's crazy because it's that thing that you can't see, especially the 12th house, but it has massive impact on you because it's more like in the 12th house, it's more like a subconscious override, right? And that is a deep. And then again, is Pluto transiting your. Where is Pluto in your chart? Oh my God, don't even get me started about Pluto. And yeah, so we do have that's all I wanted to say. That's it. We're gonna keep it very short and sweet because I'm trying to keep those episodes short, but a girl can talk. But I want these to be quick and short episodes. And that's it for now. Okay, that's it. I had more in my outline, but we'll continue in another one. And that, like I said before, all the links are down below. You can book my booking calendars open if you feel called to have a private session to look at your own the birth chart and what trends that you have and how they're affecting different aspects of your life. And on that note, my love, keep shining bright like a diamond. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh my goodness, I also had to do the next monthly energy checking. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.